is Sep, and in today's video, I'm going to show you how you can go from the 1.0 version of yourself to the 2.0 version of yourself faster than you ever thought possible, okay? So here's the situation. We know that most people have some type of routine by now when it comes to visualization. You might have heard of it, you might have tried it, might have read some books, a lot of people talking about it. But how do you really get into it? And what's the secret behind it? The secret behind it is really the feeling that most people don't focus on. It's the feeling behind it. So how do you get there? If you're waking up and you feel kind of tired, you feel lethargic, maybe the night before you're motivated, but when you wake up, you're just not the same person. You don't execute the goals, you don't hit the sales activities, you don't do the inputs necessary to get you where you want to go. And I've actually came across something that I kind of built out myself, experimented with, right? This process has worked for me before in the past, but recently I found a way to actually tap into the energy that I need to get there. So when we want to get to our targets, so here's our target here. Let's say we have a target 10K a month. Okay? And the 10K a month is probably going to take some inputs. Those inputs might be sales activities, sending emails, DMs, making YouTube videos of that nature. But you wake up and you're far from there. You're not that person, right? The 1.0 version of yourself just doesn't see it happening. You're far from it. So what you can do, what I've done, is incorporate some technology into it. So I've taken the feeling process, right? Some people tell you to go out there and kind of physically be present. That's the next step into it. You want to sprinkle a little bit of that into it. But for now, what you can control and kind of incorporate through your hours is this. So let's say you wake up, you have a routine, you do 20-minute visualization, you have some type of Google Sheet, you have some type of Google Doc, you have your goal set, you do all that stuff, but that's not enough. The reality is not enough. Why? Because when you start working, right, maybe you're not getting those feedbacks that you want, your calendar's looking empty, things of that nature, it kind of puts you back into the old self. There's resistance. So you kind of have to trick your mind into it. And you see a lot of successful people saying that they trick their mind into it. They kind of brainwash themselves. They hack the brain. This is what I've come up with, the solution that's been working really well for me. I put some tech behind it. Why? Because the tech is a tool that can get you there faster. Not many people talk about this, Dave. No one really talks about that, right? So some people track their sleep with tools like Oura Ring. They solve the problem with the tech. Now their sleep, they can keep track of it. How do you keep track and how do you incorporate tech into your visualization practice? What I've been able to do, I've went ahead and bought a VR headset from Facebook Marketplace. You can buy one for as low as $100. I recommend you get the Quest 1. It's cheap. It gets the job done. You're not looking to play games with it. All you're trying to do is look into those experiences, the YouTube videos, things of that nature to kind of remind yourself and kind of bring it closer to you and do the visualization practice. And instead of doing it 20 minutes, you bring this into your day. Now you're doing it in increments and you're feeling it. The reason why I do the VR, and I tell you to do VR, because your mind doesn't differentiate between reality. Once you take it off, right, you're going to feel a little bit disconnect, especially if it's like some type of VR experience. There's a disconnect. You notice that if you've never put on a VR headset, you almost feel like you're in there, right? So it means it's doing the trick. You're getting the feelings. You're getting closer. Your mind is being hacked in a way. So this is why I want you to experiment with that to get you to that 2.0 version of yourself faster. Why? Because when you do this, let's say you use the VR, you're viewing videos of nature, you're doing things like watching videos of you in a Lamborghini, whatever it is the case, yachts, doesn't matter. There's tons of videos out there, right? Visualization videos of that nature. It brings you closer. Why? because you feel like you're missing out on that, right? You're missing out on that. It gives you this energy to kind of go after and hit your sales target. So this becomes the aftermath. This becomes the aftermath. When you do the VR headset, you use visualization instead of one time throughout the day. You do it in increments of, let's say, 15 minutes every time you want to take a nap, every time you want to, take a little break, right? It's a reminder of what could be and the life you want to create. So it kind of forces you into that. And you kind of wake up, your mind's like, yes, I'm ready to go, right? It's very interesting. Why? You look at different industries, music industry, any type of industry, film industry, media industry. They're very good at subconsciously imprinting things in your mind. And this is the goal here. We're using this instead of feeding negative energy, politics, things that don't feed us, or things like, you go on Twitter space, crypto Twitter, whatever the Twitter, people making money, 16-year-olds, Lamborghini, is giving you that disconnect because you're not there. But when you flip the script and you control what goes into your brain, especially if you do this hack, you're going to get there faster. You're feeding your vision. You're feeding yourself. So you're going to come to a position that it's going to light a fire up in you when you do this eventually to get you to those 10K. So then you start breaking the 10K goals down. Okay, what do I need to do? 10K usually means, rough numbers, hitting your KPIs. It's as simple as that. Now, that could mean cold calls. It could mean emails. It could mean ads. It could mean whatever. Depends on whatever you're doing, your industry. You break it down, it becomes simplified. It's in the numbers here. But here is in the feelings, okay? So you have to look at it in a duality sense. In one sense, if you control the feelings, the results and the actions you put in it feeds into that. It's like sprinkling a little bit of something into the recipe. So if you're focusing on too much of hitting the inputs, the goal, the targets, the actions, you're most likely going to be taking away from the feeling, which is ultimately the biggest thing most people don't aware of, right? They have that, you've probably seen that image where they say there's an iceberg and the tip is the conscious and the subconscious is what's behind there and under the iceberg. This is what we're trying to do. We're trying to put imprints in the subconscious mind so it starts speaking in the language that we like it to speak to. And the language is in the feeling, right? So when you do this, especially at night, right? This is the biggest thing, is not to skip this process at night. Why? Because if you're tense, if you're negative, if you're thinking about, how hard it is, all those negative thought patterns, your subconscious is going to take that in. It's going to take that in and it's going to create that for you when you go to sleep. Unfortunately, that's just how it works, right? So what you need to do, especially do this process before bed at night and go watch those videos on yachts, whatever it is, right? The good life that you're trying to create those impersonations, to get those feelings, to become that person, that 2.0 person is that. You're getting closer to a step by closer. And now, once you've done this process, okay, another step you can take it further is, which I do regularly, is do these things physically. So you're not just doing it in a visualized sense, right? You do it physically. How do you do that? You can't afford it. Well, one way is to do it is find some of the top restaurants, some of the top, most expensive places in your city, right? And go out, have a walk in the dealerships, go for a coffee. The coffee is going to cost you what? $2 to $3. I've done this quite often on the weekend. Instead of hanging out with your friends, doing all these things, people, you go around your old friends, they throw some negative banter around, you feel drained and it doesn't feed you. Do this instead. Go take a walk downtown, go to the most expensive places you can think of, places that have steaks, $70-$80. Go sit around there and order a coffee. Ask them, hey, do you have coffee? They're going to come tell you, yeah, we have coffee. It's drip coffee. Like, no worries, I got it. So you're going to go order yourself a coffee. You're going to sit down and you're going to just look around. You're almost going to meditate, feel it, be it. Try to take the environment. Look around, don't be nervous, right? Don't be nervous. A good story I have here for you is a while back. This is way before. Uh, I wanted to hop in a very nice car. I was driving a Honda Civic at the time, right? So there were car shows around, and I dress up and I would go to the car show. And there was especially this one sector of the car show where it was taped off red, all this velvet red thing covering it, and you couldn't enter, right? Why? Because it was expensive cars and the Ferraris, Maseratis, whatever the case. So I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna act the role. I'm gonna be that person. I walk up to the guy. I'm like, hey, I'm looking at this car here, but there's an F type over there. So I speak his language. There's a Jaguar F type. I can't choose between them. He's like, come through, come and check it out. So I go. I sit in the Maserati, right? And I'm talking to the guy. I'm pretending to kind of be the buyer. And in that moment, my mind is racing, my heart is racing. I'm nervous because I'm very disconnected with what's happening. It's out of your comfort zone. My palms were sweating, right? The guy's asking me questions. I'm looking to, be that person. Fast forward, you could say a few months, 3 months later, 6 months later, whatever the case is, I actually happened to end up in a car similar to the same level of the Maserati. And at the time, it was a Porsche Panamera. It's still very high level. But again, the person previously was sweating just being in that environment. I was sweating talking to the guy trying to maintain the frame. So this is what you have to do as well. Right now, you're avoiding these expensive restaurants. You're avoiding those things. But you make it easy for yourself. You're fasting, right? If someone's asking why you're not eating, you're fasting. And you should be fasting in a day, right? You go in the day, walk around downtown, order yourself a $2 coffee, sit down, enjoy, take that feeling. I bet you as soon as you walk out, you're going to feel a surge of energy, and it's just going to give you drive to go towards your target. So you're going to start planning how I'm going to do this, how I'm going to introduce leverage into it, I'm going to look for VAs, I'm going to do all these things, right? It's going to push you towards your target because, again, you're getting closer to it by, right, increasing your feelings. You're increasing those feelings. Now, instead of, if you're not doing that, most likely you're probably going to be doing the things that are taking away from the feelings to get you to your target, your 2.0 version. Hanging out with friends, going to the bar, watching news, doom scrolling, negative. Everything's negative is taken away from you, so you need to cut out everything and go towards feeding it what gets you there, all right? But if you do this practice, you're going to see some interesting results. So that being said, this is the video for now. If you go on Facebook Marketplace right now, search up for a Quest headset, $100, Quest 1, because all you need is a YouTube. You don't need something fancy, right? Just to get in there. And it'll help you get the ball rolling. And as soon as you do this, you're going to find yourself, you're going to be ahead of everybody else, ahead of the curve when it comes to these things, visualization, feelings, manifestation, because they don't have a blueprint. They don't have a tool to get them there. You're introducing the tool using the tech. Once you're in the tech, you are in the space now. You can't get away from it, right? It's like playing a sport. If I give you a soccer ball, now you have a soccer ball, you're forced to kick the ball. But if you don't have a soccer ball and you're watching the soccer on TV, you're just a spectator. So go get yourself one of these headsets, start doing what I'm telling you here right now, and it'll get you to your target so you can do the inputs to get you there, okay? I'll see you on the next one.